fantasy. Yeah, oh baby, come with me. Oh, what y'all finna do? What you finna do?
Everybody!
What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
And you!
What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
Gonna get down now!
What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
Yeah!
La 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 la. La 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 la. Mobbing deep with Marty Jones. It's just a funky situation. You know we do it right. Sensual delight. You don't need no invitation. It's like a fantasy. Yeah, oh baby, come with me. Oh, what y'all finna do?
Yeah!
What you finna do?
That's right!
What y'all
Coming to a
finna
theater
do?
near you!
What you finna do?
But you gotta get yourself
What y'all
together, darling.
finna do? What you finna do? What y'all finna do? What you finna do? La 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 la. La 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 la. What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
Everybody!
What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
And you!
What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
Gonna get down now!
What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
Yeah!
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
All right, this is Jimmy Jive, and you're listening to Motor City Rock Talk. Today, I've got 3 members of the band Mighty Jones with me. Talking about that band and their recordings and an upcoming EP they're going to schedule to have. So, 2 of the members, the drummer, Brian Smith, a.k.a. Super B, and Vic Colon, the guitar player, singer, songwriter, are also members of Flophouse. So, today, I'd like to start out with a little background on each of you. Yeah, let's start with Brian. Brian, tell me where you're from originally and what drew you to music as far as like playing the drums.
Oh, right on. God, long story short, born New York City, grew up in Minnesota. My dad was a radio guy. He was hired. He ended up running Wheels, WLLZ, in the late 80s. And so I moved out, and that's when I came to Michigan, and I went to University of Detroit College. I was already playing drums, already playing in bands, and that's how I got stuck here. And then I met these guys that we were really close, Jeff Coleman, G Money, and that's how I got in Black Molly. Black Molly was the first big band that I was in, and because I was in Black Molly, that's how I got to meet the Heat Miser, Rob Miller, and later got to Guitar Center where I met Victor, and that's how we got the Flophouse.
There too, eh?
Yeah. So Flophouse, all 4 members, we worked at that Canton Guitar Center, Mike included.
I see.
We formed the holiday party. Yeah. And so Victor, we'll get to Victor, but he has his own song, Driving to Memphis, which was on the Flophouse EP that I gave you, and but he already had that song, and we played that at that party, and that's how Flophouse started. But with Black Molly, that was a big band. We got to open up for the Beastie Boys at Breslin in Lansing, and we did the New Music Seminar '93 that Nirvana was at, and things were cooking and things were going, and then it didn't. But in that time, the funny part is that's how I met Rob.
Okay, right. His bands at that time?
Yeah. Black Molly and Bent Lucy, we shared a room. We ended up sharing a room at Big Lots where we did that Flophouse EP was recorded at the Big Lots. That's where I didn't know Rob. I was friends with the drummer, Mike Brazick, and we just recorded Black Molly, that CD I think you had. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, we recorded at the Temper Mill, and that day when we recorded it, so we're coming back to that Big Lots spot. Also, we pull up, and there was like 1,000 people there, and we have to move all this gear. And no one's moving, and they're being dicks. Everyone, they're just being assholes. And so I go find Mike, and I'm like, dude, my lord, we got to get the gear back. They're having a Club of Faith party enough, so right. Rob was, and it was huge. It was out of control. Like I said, there was probably 1,000 people there, and so Mike all of a sudden goes, "Hey Rob, the guys at Black Molly have to get gear back." And all of a sudden I see this guy. He has like a mohawk, but he has hair down to his back. And all of a sudden he gets on top of a what do you call it? Pop machine. And he has a megaphone. And he goes, "Hey you motherfuckers, you don't fucking move now." I'm like, and everyone starts moving wherever. Yeah, we're getting there. And I go to Mike. I go, "Who's that?" "That's Rob Miller. That's my guitar player." I was scared of him. I was so scared. But the next week, we're going to play with them. We're going to play with them at Lily's in Hamtramck. And I already had the tape. I already had Baptized. And I already loved it. And I'm like going to Mike, but I was like, "Dude, I'm really afraid of your guitar player." He's like, "Don't worry, dude. You're going to love him." And dude, when we played with them that night, Bent Lucy became my favorite band. Not my favorite local band, my favorite band. And because of that, we moved in together. So Black Molly and Bent Lucy, we roomed together. And his band was notorious for not showing up. And my band was notorious for not showing up. So that's how Rob and we start jamming together. And that's how the Vietnam prom started. And so whatever, all these journeys, and like I said, I played in all these bands and blah, blah, blah. But that's how I get to Guitar Center where I meet Victor Cologne.
Right.
So I'm going to pass it off to my pal Vic.
Hey Vic, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Thank you for having us.
No problem, man. So I heard a little of his background. I heard a little bit about how you guys met. Where are you from originally? Are you from the Detroit metro area, or where are you from?
So I am not actually from Michigan. I'm actually an Ohio native, just west of Cleveland, a small little town called Avon Lake, literally right on the lake. So basically my journey is this. I was just kind of would consider myself a creative person through high school and things like that. I was always involved in theater, little basement bands and things like that. But it wasn't until really I moved away from home. I moved to the Toledo area to go to school at the University of Toledo. The first quarter I academically, not expelled, but academically suspended. And they send you, what I didn't know at the time is the grant money or whatever that I would get. They sent the check to me instead of my mom. And so that check, this is the true story too. I went to his pawn shop in downtown Toledo and bought myself a guitar. And that's the time I'm finding myself. I'm trying to have an outlet for writing. I've always wanted to write and things like that. And so it was hard for me to start a band. Any of the kind of the people that I met that I would kind of quote unquote jam with, nobody was really that serious. People wanted to jam and it's fun, but not really more than beyond going, beyond the basement. So said all that, I started, I went, got the guitar, dedicated myself to just writing, going out and seeing music throughout the Toledo area. Frankie's is a very big venue there that a lot of bands come through, Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Pearl Jam, even Detroit's own Sponge. I got to see them there. So having said that, that was one of the places that I would go, and I started to do open mic nights and the basic singer-songwriter stuff. Then really later on, I moved back home to Cleveland for a minute. And this is probably like, the mid-90s. And again, still on the quest to kind of find myself. But at this point, the reason why I go back home is because I have an audience. And so now that I have some material that I've been kind of writing, I have some friends that are interested. And so I kind of started to, make my bones in the Cleveland area, meet up with some other musicians, which then led me into the craft of songwriting and recording, which then led me to the recording workshop in Chillicothe, Ohio. Part of that was because I thought as a musician, I needed to know pretty much everything and be self-sufficient. And that included how to record myself, how to make demo tapes, and things like that. So The reason why that's a significant part to the story is because at that point, reunited with a girlfriend, made a commitment to move back to the Toledo area / Michigan area. And that was a cognizant choice to come to the area. And I say Detroit loosely, obviously. I'm so far south from Detroit, but in my head, Detroit was, why wouldn't I want to be there? That's the music city. And as much as I love Cleveland and it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, I feel this kinship kind of with Detroit without even having to been there. So anyway, so that led me to Detroit or Michigan, my home, which then led me to Guitar Center. So once I moved to the Michigan area, I was like, where the hell am I going to work? I didn't want to do the corporate job. That just wasn't what I was going to do. So I was going to try as hard as I could to make it, so to speak, in music. And so where was I going to go to meet musicians? I didn't know anybody from Detroit. So I had, killing two birds with one stone. I would get employed, but then I'd also surround myself with some musicians.
Good plan.
Right? I mean, really. So this was really, really a choice that way. So what was great is I went to one of the best stores you could in Canton. And I mean that in the way of not only equipment, but people. I mean, I couldn't have picked a better place to land. I didn't know it at the time, but I mean...
There were some great players.
100%.
Some you've already interviewed. You've interviewed Mark Damien, right? He was one of our bosses.
He was actually our operations manager.
Joe Tubal from Bridge.
Joe Tubal, yep.
Obviously Heat Miser. Yeah, Mike Atkins.
Chris Phillips,
from I Am Dynamite was there. I'm just saying, big bands.
It was a little hotbed.
James Majarian from Black Market.
Oh, yeah, James. Mike Adkins.
Pete Bankard was working there, the producer. It was crazy.
Oh, the same location, eh?
Yes.
Wow.
Canton was a great little spot. So, really once I got there, it didn't take me long. I started in the pro audio department.
And
really,
Victor and I, we never talked.
No, ever.
Yeah.
So at that time, I started passing demo tapes around. So all the stuff that I had learned in the recording workshop, I went and got did a good demo, had it, a bunch of tapes made, tapes, I mean, literally tapes, and probably CDs too, but still tapes. And I was giving them out, and there just happened to be, of course, when you work in a place with a bunch of musicians, somebody happened to have a garage jam and invited people, and someone said, hey, you should come along.
And it was a nice jam.
Yeah. Right. So, it was a full garage. Everybody could, anybody could play drums,
nice, good gear.
The setup.
Yeah.
And so we started to kind of get a feel, and I remember Super B coming up to me and saying,
because Mike then goes to me, hey, that Vic? I'm like, yeah, what about him? Because at that point, me and you
didn't know each other.
We
really
did not talk, which is crazy considering it's like 20 years later. You know what I mean? But I was a manager then, and usually it would take like months before I would learn people's names, just because the people
were in and out of
in
there.
And out and all that stuff.
Good turnover, yeah.
And at that time, I wasn't a pro audio guy. I would later become a pro audio guy, but at that time, I was like, I don't even want to go in that room.
That's crazy to think about too. That's true. You didn't know anything about pro audio.
I had known nothing at that point, which is crazy. Like now,
and Super B is amazing now.
Right. It's weird. But anyway, and so all of a sudden Mike is like, yeah, that Vic, man, he could fucking sing and he could play. And I'm like, for real? He goes, yeah. And so so Mike goes, we'll go to the next jam. Because I was like, dude, I don't want to jam. Because I was already in 5 bands. I was like, I was jammed out. And I go to this jam, and dude, it was like the light came on. And I'm like, holy crap, this guy is great. I mean, amazing. Like his voice and phrasing. I'm just like, oh, God.
Yeah. Thanks.
Right?
No, that's
And then, so the original Flophouse bass player is named Paul Hunt, P-Dog. So I go to P-Dog, I'm like, hey man, that Vic, dude, that guy's got it. He goes, oh yeah, he's got it. And so that's when this party's coming up.
Yeah.
Where Guitar Center had the magic bag, and anyone could jam. And so I'm like, dude, let's put our names down.
Yes.
And so the three of us put our names out. Now, there was this guy, Noah Woodside, who was our buddy, who was supposed to play guitar.
Yes.
He fucks it up.
He doesn't bring his instrument.
Yeah. And that's how Mike slides in. And so Mike was my guy.
Paul and I were kind of,
Yeah.
he was the guy that when I started, him and I were kind of friends. So it was like two groups of friends here, like, hey,
Yeah.
let's play.
Yeah. And so Mike Atkins, who now is in Uncle Cracker, but at that time, his first real band is this band, Flophouse.
Yes.
But he was my guy. And
Right.
so that's how we come together. And then instantly, so there was a guy named Chuck Griffiths who's going to do the show at the Crazy Leprechaun. And all these all these bands are going to play it. And he goes, do you know anyone who'll play? I go, oh, we'll play.
We were actually at Guitar Center. We were in the accessories department.
Yeah.
And he actually came in and he requested Super B, obviously. And so he starts to ask him about this kind of stuff. And Super B just kind of gives me a sly look. And
He goes,
go ahead.
I was like, dude, we'll play it. And I just tell him I already have a
He's
name.
like, yeah, we have this band.
Yeah.
We have a band.
We already have the name Flophouse, and it was based off. It's hard to understand. So I don't know if you know the Jester or Jay Holly or any of these guys, but I love them to death. And they had a Flophouse where all hell would break loose, and then you would just pass out there. And they called it the
Right.
Flophouse. So I'm like, great, got a name. Boom,
Be Flophouse.
I'm like, yeah, Flophouse. And that's when we learned. Well, we had a bunch of originals, which were Victor's songs. Oh, and one. Well, we called it Mike's song.
Right,
but it was
but it was
really,
my original.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really Victor's song. So we had.
Some material.
Right, we had material,
Right.
and then we learned covers, and we actually pull it off for this show. From there,
So in essence, we just made it up. We just told the dude, yeah, we have a band.
Yeah.
So he's like, are you sure? And so he
yeah.
was willing to
Yeah,
put us
yeah.
on, and he walks away, and Super B and I look at each other and we're like, okay, I guess we got some work to do.
Mentioned you had learned some covers. But Vic, as far as your guitar playing, who are some of your influences as far as guitar? Did you have any specific?
Yeah, and I hate to sound really cliche, but really the person that turned me on was Jimi Hendrix, which
That's cool.
and I hate to sound cliche, but for me, Jimi Hendrix, it was the Band of Gypsies specifically. It's amazing, and I think it was a look into the future of what Jimi Hendrix was. A lot of but having said that, there's a blues guy named Gary Moore, John Schofield.
All the best, yeah.
Some really tasty players. I'm actually Jobim, a bossa nova player. Somebody turned me on to him years ago in New York City. Not that I'm an avid bossa nova listener. The rhythm and feel in that kind of music is unmistakable, and so to say that I wasn't influenced, I'd be lying. So to get back to your specific question, Hendrix definitely would be one for sure. Let's see who else.
What about Prince? Because I get a Prince vibe from you.
So this is the other thing. I think some of my rhythm playing is just really almost by osmosis. I think part of what I do really is just a product of some of those things. And while it's funny you say that, because I wouldn't say Prince directly, but when I hear those things, it's 100% in my DNA. I listened to a lot of, in the mid 80s, I listened to a lot of Prince, Midnight Star. You know what I mean? Those kinds of, those weren't necessarily main, and Prince obviously, we could argue, but you know, at the time, Midnight Star is not really like a mainstream band or anything like that. I tend to be into kind of funkier stuff. So again, I think the specific guys, you know, the obvious is the
Right.
Hendrixes and those type of guys, but I think also my rhythm style really is amalgamation of so many different styles. Curtis Mayfield, listening to Parliament Funkadelic. And one other band I probably would say really when I really started to get into playing like rhythm and soul, actually I can take that back, there's two. Sam and Dave would be one, the other would be the Meters.
Yep.
The Meters in general,
we both love
their style is almost kind of how I would say my style is. It's an amalgamation of so many different things, and while we call it funk, I think you could probably categorize those guys in maybe a couple different other genres as well.
Yeah.
What about you, Super B? Who pretty much influenced you? Did you have any influences as far as your drum playing, your
for
style?
sure. My favorite early of Flophouse, which was funny, I was a big Bonham period, and I had the Vista lights. So and the kit was huge, and like the bass drum's like 26 inch.
Obnoxious.
It was obnoxious, and this kit, but it was a part of the Flophouse sound. I think early on.
We wanted to be big.
Yeah, but I got sick of chasing Bonham. I got tired of it, and plus playing those big drums, like when you play them out there, sounds great, but when you're behind the kit, they sound like butt. So
that would affect your playing. Sure.
It did. I didn't like it. For them to really sound good, you really got to hit them hard, and I don't think Flophouse was about. We have developed, and same thing with Mon Jones, into a more finesse playing, and I think right now where my head's at is more Steve Gadd. Not that I'm that good or anything.
No,
but,
I hear that one.
But that's what I work on.
How about the Purdy Shuffle?
I play it every day. Not very well, but every day. So yeah, like the jazz, funk, soulful players. That's where my head's at. That's where I strive.
That's cool, yeah. Now, as far as Flophouse, the band itself is quite a departure from what you're doing in Mighty Joe's as far as the sound and the feel. Now, was that just a natural progression, or did you have that all in mind all along? You just wanted to develop into that?
It just naturally happened, right?
You know, it did naturally happen. And I think really, to be honest with you, a lot of that was the departure of Mike Adkins.
Yeah.
Mike definitely had the more rock and roll, like true rock and roll, sound. When I say
Big
true
sound.
rock and roll, yeah, the kind of stadium sound, and really was the flashiness, that extra seasoning that you need. You know what I mean? He really was that. And so I could, really kind of sit back, play the rhythm, and let him kind of do his thing. In this band, I'm actually a lot more up front. You're hearing, obviously, when we went from 4 people to 3 people. So it was just basically more, I don't want to use the term survival, but it's just more a term of this is what we need to do. Super B and I think the biggest thing, we connect on musically on so many different levels. We just knew that we had something. To be honest with you, I could probably play just Super B and I think we would absolutely kick ass. I mean, I have no, we could not plan anything and just go and jam and absolutely kick ass.
Like you said, you guys were 4-piece of that. Now you're a 3-piece. Was there ever any time when you started it that you thought, well, if it isn't going to be Mike, because he doesn't quite fit the sound or ideas?
No, it wasn't that he didn't fit. I mean, he just got busy. I mean, he's on the road. We couldn't book when we try to book, Flophouse, and the bookers would be like, well, is Mike Atkins going to be there? And I'm like, no. And they're like, yeah, we don't want you. So it wasn't that Mike didn't fit. Mike would no problem could jump in.
Why didn't you? Because obviously, he went on to the Uncle Cracker and all that. Did you guys ever think to maybe find someone else get a 4th?
We tried. We tried.
We did go down that road.
And then it just failed miserably. We tried keyboard players. We had one guy that just quit. We were recording and he just walked out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we tried different people. It's actually funny, and we're not going to tell the stories, but yeah, we've had total disasters that Victor and I would laugh about.
Yeah, I mean, even trying, in incorporating different instruments, not even just, another guitar player. With like, well, maybe we can expand it by doing this instead. And so, not instead, but, as well. And so, yeah, like he said, we've tried. And so, and that's not to say that we're not open to. I mean, we're absolutely, if we could find some other musicians, that would be wonderful. We have no qualms about any of that. I think what you're hearing now is kind of the byproduct of, hey, we just got to keep moving.
Well, it definitely works as a 3-piece. I'm just thinking it might make your life a little easier because, you're playing guitar, you're singing, you're playing lead guitar.
No, we need someone to take take the pressure off Victor. We're waiting for the right person to present themselves.
And the other thing about it is, because you're doing this funk style stuff, even if it was just the studio, have you considered adding horns, whether it's like on keyboards, synthesizer, or anything like that? Because I think that would fit your sound.
There's keyboards all over. Yeah.
And the recorded thing, we absolutely do that. But to answer your question, in our heads, that's exactly what
that would be
hear.
Great. But,
and we work so when obviously when you're in the studio, you have the liberty, of adding some extra stuff. The one thing that's been really good, and this would include, our current bass player. he's a multi-instrumentalist, and so really when it comes
Scotty.
to the recording stuff, it's been great because then we can, Super B's got a great setup down here. If we need to hop over to keys, we can do that. If we need to access some horn sounds, but ideally, yes. But I don't know if this is really that big of a deal, but think about, trying to hire a 10-piece band or an 8-piece band. Got to have the people that are willing to play just to play. And you know what I mean? As a horn player, like, you got to make it worth your while to come out there.
House stuff with Joe LeBeau on horns.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I could send you that stuff. We got videos of that. And it's great. Costs money.
We perform and show up, like you said. Yeah, and commit, like you said. Now, what happened to the original bass player then from Mighty Jones? You said this guy's your newest.
Yeah, you saw Dennis. So at the show, that's the original bass. That's Dennis. He retired. Dude, Dennis is probably the best musician we've ever worked with and the coolest. And
For sure.
Right? He's a little older than you guys.
Yeah, he
not
was.
much.
But not much. No.
Yeah. He just has a lot. He had like 30 years, maybe a little bit more than me. I mean, yeah, just a little bit. Let's say 35. He has like 30 low spit, and mine's like 30 or whatever, But he had perfect pitch. He could play bass and guitar, lead guitar. And he can sing. He can play the keyboards, and just his songwriting.
Yes.
So
it worked well together. The three of us worked really well together.
The Curse of the Funky Treasure. I mean, it's Victor's voice and songs. It's my production, but it's Dennis's arrangement, the way he was really a huge part. But anyway, so he retired to Florida, but we found Scotty, but Scotty couldn't do that show. Dennis was in town, and so you saw Dennis, and Dennis is a monster player.
The whole band was good, but the show was phenomenal. I especially thought it was interesting, the coverage you did, picking some songs that weren't necessarily funk at all, like the Gerald Hall & Oates stuff, and then making them funk. I thought, or adding that little bit of funk flavor to it, which I think is great. Your sound with that is really unique, I think, because you can tell you guys come from a rock background.
Yes.
As far as that, and without being racist, you're white and you're playing.
We're more Black Crowes.
Right. I'd almost feel like. But that's a good point. No, that's a great point.
Yeah, we're more Black Crowes, but see, it changed. So I think you might have seen it with the new material, Midwest Surfing, that I sent you. There's not wrong or right. It's just Curse of the Funky Treasure. That's where we were at. We were at Prince and Parliament and Rick James and The Time and Stevie Wonder. And that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I think what happened, the record now is more rocky. There's more rock, which instead of being scared of it,
it's just whatever.
We embraced it.
I had mentioned earlier in the intro that, you guys are working an EP and you're hoping to have it out by the end of the year, early January. Well, how many songs are you projected to be on this EP? You plan to do? 7. What do you plan on doing with it? You going to just put it on Spotify? You going to release it?
Both.
As a CD? Or any plans with that?
Yeah, huge plans. I think I'm feeling really good. I think it sounds great. I think we have hits. I think we should go. We're going to try to get on Third Man record and try to
something.
Do something. Yeah. Think big. Why think small? I don't see why we can't be on the Tonight Show. Why can't we be on Jimmy Kimmel? Why not us? We have the material. It's good. It's solid. It's just got to get out there. So we got to get the video element right, and that's one part that we keep talking about. So we're going to get the video. We got the songs. We could record it, and we proved that with Curse. We could do a high quality product. Great. Boom. Where we failed, and failed's a strong word, but where we didn't get the videos right. Right now, that's where it's at. You want your TikToks, you want your Reels, you want your YouTube, you want your Facebook, you need video.
The biggest thing I think is this. It's the realization that 20 years ago you passed around tapes. You played out in front of people. You did the dirty work. That this isn't dirty work, but it's a whole different style of dirty work. In the end, right, wrong, or indifferent, I didn't get into music to be a content creator.
Right.
But guess what? That's what kids are doing nowadays.
Yeah,
so,
all about that.
You know what I mean? And so the way that you support your music is kind of a little bit different. You're not just, the other thing, not to point out the obvious, but we're not spring chickens. I don't think that, young teens are rushing to go see, 50-year-old dudes. Now, does that mean that the music's not right? No, it doesn't mean that, but I don't know that anybody relates necessarily. So that's something we got to think about too. You know, who is our target audience? I don't think that necessarily it's the younger people. That would be great if they came along. And that kind of goes back to your comment about choosing select songs, not one that everybody is covering, and just doing your own little twist. That's what starts to get people interested. And so not only that, maybe that is the thing that while we're trying to maybe modernize it, if you will, then if someone were to, you know, they're into it and they do the research, then they maybe get turned on to some music and can understand where we came from. That's how you bridge the gap with younger people. But getting back to how we're getting our music out there, yeah, we've had to become content creators, and that's really the biggest thing, because it's a very steady thing. It's, you know, it's a lot more labor intensive, if you will, trying to, you know.
And it's a skill set right now we haven't mastered.
Correct.
That's the
Correct.
problem.
That's the problem, man. We just want to show up and play, but
yeah,
you know.
we want to play music. That's what Victor and I, that's what we got involved. We want to play music, and that's what's cool, having the studio set up. We can do it.
Yes.
We can make our music. Victor can come in here with his songs, and he'd be like, hey, B. He doesn't even say, B, I got this. He just starts playing. Boom. Then we got a song. So, like, Curse, there was a couple of songs we were playing live, but all that was mostly made in the studio.
Yeah.
Same thing with Midwest Surfing. It's the same thing. We're learning right now, and that's what this practice tonight, the rehearsal, is learning songs that we never played live. Actually, though, with two of those songs we did play live that you saw, so that's positive.
Right. To Super B's point is, it's kind of funny because, you know, in some cases our songwriting comes from jamming, and then you start to build up the song, you know, that way. The studio stuff is very much like that, where we have some ideas, and then we just, our philosophy really, or if you were, but one of the things that we thought about is we're not going to say no to anything. Let's explore as many possibilities as we can. We can obviously take things out, cut tracks out, cut whatever, but let's explore wherever it takes us. And so that's one way. And like I said, sometimes it is just a jam, and it'll come from something. We record things, obviously, but we find the little nuggets, the little bits that sound really good, and say, you know what, this is something there.
Yeah, you got to pay close attention to those little details, because a lot of times the little details are what makes something stand out. And the one thing you stated a little while ago about trying to get the younger generation into this type of stuff, I think that's becoming more and more accessible and to be done because of the internet, because of YouTube.
Yes.
They're getting bombarded by that. And I think a lot more kids are coming up actually being hip to that kind of stuff, being more wide open to that. Whereas before the internet and YouTube, you know, you were pretty pandered to whatever your friends listened to and whatever, you know, you were into. Now, as far as that, and you're saying trying to select some songs, have you guys done any of the Flophouse material with Mighty Jones?
Dennis, we did, everything is cool with Dennis.
When we did Drive into Memphis.
And Driving to Memphis,
Yeah.
those two. But we haven't done those with Scotty. We haven't developed any Flophouse with Scotty.
I mean, do you find it challenging to take that kind of material and make it?
It's not that we wouldn't like to have the Flophouse stuff necessarily, but by the same token, I hate to sound like we're always trying to move forward.
I think I just meant that as far as, you know, foundational and,
Yeah.
you know, intriguing some of the fans that might come out and see you and stuff and know your history with that and go, wow, that's cool. I always liked that, but this is a really cool version of it, been updated. So,
That's
you know,
a good point. No, that's a really good.
going to bridge the gap between the two bands, so to speak. I guess the bass player has shown up, Mr. Scott T. Vincent.
Hey, how's it
How you
going?
doing, Scott? How's it going, man?
I'm well, thank you.
That's great. Now, we've been talking a little bit about the band that Vincent and Super B came out of, Flophouse, and its turnover into Mighty Jones. Had you been familiar with Flophouse before you hooked up with these guys with Mighty Jones?
Nope, I was not familiar with any of their work prior to connecting with them about, a year and a half ago? Yeah. No, I reached out to, B reached out to me over the interwebs, if you will. I'd put myself out there looking for a different gig. He reached out, sent me some stuff that he'd been working on. I immediately wrote bass lines to it, and that's basically it. And then since then, I've just been jamming and writing and recording with these guys and releasing content.
Now, what is your background? Like, where are you from originally? Are you from the Detroit metro area?
Actually, I'm from Midland, Michigan.
At least it's Michigan, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
These two guys are out of towners. They're, you know, they're not true Michiganders.
Sure, sure. But I did live in Colorado for about 7 years. 3 years ago, I moved back to Michigan. But out there, I actually really grew as a musician out there. I played in several alt country and bluegrass groups. I got to share the stage with guys like Bill Nershi from the String Cheese Incident and Jeremy Garrett from the String Dusters, Joel Seals from Genetic, Six, which is another Michigan band that actually emigrated out there to Colorado. Really got to grow a lot. You know, I also kind of enjoy not being broke all the time. I decided it was time to move back home to Michigan. Water and cheaper housing. So yeah.
Now, you had mentioned you weren't familiar with Flophouse before you joined Mighty Jones. Were you playing at the time, or had you been in any bands in the Michigan area after you came back? Or what's your background as far as bands?
Yeah, so I never really played out in the state of Michigan too much. You know, I grew up in Michigan, but at 19 I left home to join the Army, and I moved down to Texas, and I played in a metal band. And then I came back to Michigan for a little bit after I got out of the Army, and then I moved to North Carolina, and I played in another metal band. And then I was kind of back and forth between Michigan and working overseas, working a job overseas and all that, back and forth. And then in 2011, I kind of fully moved to the Southeast Michigan area. I wasn't really in anything necessarily serious, but I was playing in a bluegrass band for a little bit, and that actually got me connected with a bunch of musicians in Colorado. So around probably several years later, I had decided that I wanted to take a break in my regular day job career and move out to Colorado to go to business school. I'm a veteran, so I would get to go on the GI Bill, so I got to get paid to go to school. And I was like, well, you know, instead of going to maybe Wayne or Oakland or MSU or something, you know, there's nothing really tying me down to Michigan. Let's move out west where there's a burgeoning music scene, and I could get a chance to go to school, you know, and get paid to go to school and then work part-time or maybe full-time as a musician. So I did. Out there, as soon as they found out I played bass, both guitar and upright bass, and sang, and I could do both at the same time, the gigs were just flowing in.
Do you still play stand-up bass, or did you kind of put that to the side?
In the last 3 years since I moved back to Michigan, that's kind of been put to the side. Concurrently playing with Mighty Jones, I also play in a jazz rock fusion group out of Macomb County. So we actually just played in Rochester last week. A little bit of a different vibe than what is going on with Mighty Jones, but a good vibe nonetheless. So, and that's basically what I've been doing for like the last 3 years on top of working with Brian and Vic.
Now, you know, you had stated that you played those bands that were metal bands, and then you changed over to playing a little bluegrass, and now you're playing in Mighty Jones. You're talking about three completely different genres. How tough was that, especially coming from, when you say metal, are you talking about heavy hardcore metal?
Oh yeah,
you know,
I was in a metalcore band when I was in the Army, and then I was in kind of more of like it was still heavy metal, but more of like a power rock, a little bit more focused on like shredding guitar solos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when I was in the Army, I was playing some very, very heavy music. But I'm also the son of a retired music teacher. Yeah, I've been playing music my entire life, and I'm the oldest in the family too. So Mom, she put a violin in my hands when I was 3 or 4 years old, and that's because I was too short to reach the piano keys. As soon as I could reach the piano keys, it was piano lessons. You know, then I decided when I was 14, I'm like, you know what? I like girls. So I started picking up a guitar, you know. And that's kind of where I started really to find myself both musically. But I played in jazz ensembles, I played in blues groups, I played in R&B groups. I've worked in a hip-hop studio in Saginaw a long time ago. I played in bluegrass groups, I played in alt country groups, I played in funk groups.
You've got a great background, and it sounds like you've got quite a good ear and a good taste as far as being able to play those styles of music, and you have to be pretty damn good if you're playing, you know, that type of jazz, especially. And funk, you know, you got to be able to hold it down. How is it playing in Mighty Jones with Super B? How do you guys connect? Are you guys pretty much locked in most of the time, or do you have any kind of difficulties at first, like kind of getting into the groove?
No, you know, as a rhythm player, I found a kindred spirit in B for sure. B and I are able to find the pocket and the groove very quickly, and you know, I also have some, you know, while B takes on most of the production duties, I have a little bit of training in production too. So one thing that's great about our dynamic is that while Vic is busy writing the songs, B and I are actually able to trade project files electronically from our own respective home studios, which actually makes the whole process a lot more streamlined and decentralized.
And Vic also did that too. The vocals on Midwest Surfing.
Finally got hip to doing that.
I mean,
That's an awesome point, is we don't stop at just practice. We're able to kind of share. So that was a big thing.
No, it makes it easy. No, he brings up a great point that he's able to not only do bass from his house, he could do the piano tracks at, you know, organ. So like on Midwest Surfing, Miss Freedom, and Knock on the Door, all those three songs, Scotty was able to send me the files of the bass, organ, and piano, and synth. Yeah, both two of them have synth lines. That made it easier, where Curse took 4 years realistically, Midwest Surfing, 6 months? That's a good point that Scotty makes. That dynamic did speed things up way quicker.
I just wanted to make the point too that that's what I was saying earlier too about Scotty being a multi-instrumentalist. It really helps when you have people that have multiple perspectives of music and
Right.
make songwriting. You know what I mean? So the more you surround yourself, better people or good people, I think is just going to be good.
Different ears. There's times where I do get ear fatigue or I get not blinded but tunnel vision maybe, and it's not a fault. It's just what happens. And both Scotty and Vic, they're good at like, hey, this is low or this is too much and things things are getting quick fixer. And nothing against Dennis, but I mean sometimes I'll be like blah blah blah, and I'm not hearing the critiques, and
It would take a minute.
yeah, that part is a lot quicker.
We've learned to be a little more decisive. The one thing
Right.
with the recording process, and I think Super B makes a good point, it did take us a long time, and a lot of that goes back to a comment that I made earlier. I mean, it's great that you can explore so many possibilities, and we absolutely did that. However,
Got lost in the weeds.
you start to get lost in that, and you're not as decisive then. Where if you can just get to really, the meat of the song, whatever your idea is, because sometimes the farther and farther you get away, and you're meaning to create a really good thing, you really get farther away from the original idea, and that's the ticket is staying to when it was hot, and sometimes I think,
Right.
so you can overproduce things sometimes, a little bit, but
Oh, yeah, definitely.
the point again though being is having different ears.
Sure.
You can all kind of check each other. Working with other people, you have to be able to have some sort of critique. You have to be able to accept criticism.
Compromise as far as that, because it's a band thing, and that was what was leading me into my next question. Vic, you obviously do the songwriting or the majority of it, and you guys share files. Now, so as far as that, now do you have? I mean, I know you're not a drummer, but I mean, being a guitar player, you have an ear and tutti towards bass. Do you have like bass lines in your head that you want Sky to play, or do you just let him and Super B just like take your idea and kind of revolve it up and evolve it to something to see if you guys all agree on?
So more the latter. Yeah, I mean, really for me, the beautiful thing about playing with musicians is why would I tell them what to play? Now, I'm sure if you talk to a different songwriter, it may be different. I'm not a control freak. I know, and to be honest with you, this is as honest as I could possibly be. I'm not a super duper songwriter. I don't know a ton of written music. I'm not classically trained. So to me, a lot of things are just feel. I'm definitely the two chords and the truth person. Absolutely.
Right.
So I kind of need those other people to kind of maybe guide me. And so instead of guiding me, guiding the song. That's
Right.
what they do. I'm not going to tell them to go play this. So the short answer is really in the end, I love for them to just do what they want to do. Whatever you feel, that's how it is. Because in the end, the product, everybody can feel that they've done something. And God honest truth, I don't ever feel like my idea is only my idea and nobody can add to it. I'm definitely not like that at all. So appreciate everybody else's input. Really, it goes back to, when I use the term commit, sometimes you got to buy into somebody's idea. And when you do original music, it's hard to find people that want to kind of go down that rabbit hole with you. I'm very thankful that I actually have two individuals that want to go down that rabbit hole with me, because at any point you could be like, what is this shit? And we're just jamming, we're just, whatever. And at some point, we have to, peel it all back and like, we talked about earlier, you find those little nuggets that then you can build off of. And that to me is the ultimate, in terms of creation and things like that. Band to me means everybody has a part.
You got to be able to trust one another as far
100%.
as that. To really to get that natural chemistry. And I wasn't really implying that, we're a control freak. Or
Yeah, no. I know.
No. I just wondered how much, as far as, your songwriting, you'd say, okay, not writing the parts out necessarily, but saying, okay, this is the intro, this is the chorus, this is the verse.
It's not really like that.
It's not like that at all.
No, I mean, we have had ideas where, yes, it is kind of like that. But the way that we've really been working on this particular album, it's really more little nuggets of things, and we all shape it.
A good example, I got it made. When we first started playing together, Vic had this idea for a riff that went dun 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 dun. We just kind of played it over and over and over again, and that was it. And then we kind of set it to the side and never really did anything with it.
Right.
Then Vic came with the idea for Got It Made. made, wrote lyrics, and he had a structure. And I noticed that the song he had written was in the same key as that riff he had given us an idea for. Dun, na, 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 na. So I, as we were kind of structuring the song and trying to figure out where things go, I was like, listen, after the hook, we should add that riff together. It'll really punctuate, the sequence. The song came together like that immediately. As soon as we put that all together, boom, it was all done. We had another verse, but we didn't have lyrics for that verse. I remember one day I was just walking around my house humming the song to myself over and over and over again and writing my own lyrics in my head until I was like, wait a sec, those are really good lyrics. So I wrote them down, sent them to everyone. I said, hey, I think I got a second verse, and that's what you will hear on the EP now.
But anyway, guys, I'm going to let you go because I know, I'm going to be rehearsing tonight, so I don't want to keep you from that. It's been really great talking to you, and I appreciate you guys taking the time and schooling this old man. And that's on Spotify, I know. Are you also on,
Apple, and we're on iTunes and Spotify, all three.
I know you have a Facebook page, obviously.
Yep.
Would that be the best place to go out as far as upcoming releases?
Sure. Instagram, so Mighty Jones Band, and that's also our website, MightyJonesBand.com. Mighty Jones
Try to
Band.
get on all the platforms.
Get them all the bands.
Yeah,
Mighty Jones
yeah.
Band. Mighty Jones Band.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, please help us out.
All right, brothers. You guys get the funk out.
Yeah, you too.
All right, you guys get to work.
All right, rock
Cool.
on.
Thank you,
All right,
buddy.
brother.
Thank you.
You got it. Take care.
Oh, this feeling takes a hold of me. It's like the mother of invention. I'm stepping out tonight. Leave behind my afflictions. It's like a fantasy. Yeah. Oh, baby, come with me. Oh, what y'all finna do? What you finna do?
Everybody!
What y'all finna do? What you finna do?
And you and you!
What y'all finna